Hello, and welcome to another new moon forecast. Just share the screen with you for this new moon, which is the Aquarius new moon. Depending where in the world you are, it is around the 9th, 10th of February. And remembering also happy Year of the Dragon, because then the Aquarian new moon each year ushers us into a new zodiacal cycle in Chinese astrology. And this is going to be the year of the wood dragon that's coming in. The dragon is the only of the creatures that is like a mythological type of creature. Every other animal in the Chinese zodiac is a normal animal: the rat, the goat, the snake, the horse, etc. So the Year of the Dragon is ushered in at the same time that we're having this big thrust of Pluto into Aquarius. We've had Pluto step in, but it's being compounded now as we have all the personal planets go past. So it really feels very dragony, because dragons are exceptionally powerful and intense. They are the ultimate in powerful yang energy. And here we are looking at Pluto, the ultimate power player and power shifter in astrology, as having just entered Aquarius, which is the sign with a new moon, because the Chinese zodiac is a lunar cycle, not a solar cycle the way we do it. So it's each Aquarian new moon. So this is quite a big one for many reasons. You can see how much the planets are kind of congested on one side of the sky. I just want to remind you that I've set this for where I am in South Africa. So you may not have, where you are, a Sagittarius rising, and that's absolutely fine. You don't have to worry too much about where, if you look at this and you say, oh, these planets are in the second house, that's not necessarily where it will be in your part of the world. Better to look at where is that in my chart. So we would be looking for late Capricorn, we would be looking for the whole of Aquarius, we would be looking for Pisces, we would be looking for Aries and Taurus. Those are where our congested planetary energies are right now. And for the next while, we're going to have planets like piling up in certain areas of the chart. So it only, I think, in the second half of the year is when it starts to kind of like shift around, and there's a little bit more dispersion of the planets. So for the whole of, we've had already a lot of that in Capricorn. It's already shifting into Aquarius by this point, and then it'll all shift into Pisces, and it'll all shift into Aries and shift into Taurus, and begin to shift and disperse a little bit more. So we're going to find that those last archetypal and the early archetypal energies, so the last three signs of the zodiac are Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. They're going to be very heavy in the next few months. And then we're going to go into the first few signs, Aries and Taurus, and then it shifts up a bit. So we've got, even in that, we've got this big power dynamic, because we've got a lot of the like ending signs and a lot of the beginning signs that are really getting a sort of an intense push. So this new moon, remember, new moon is always when sun and moon are in the sky together, and we are at the seed planting time of the month, where we get intentional, we set our intentions, and we hope to manifest that which we desire. And it's all really about the energy and intention and heart that we put into things. So here are sun and moon. I'm just gonna make that a bit bigger. Oh dear, that's interesting. Don't know what that's doing. Hold on. Oh my goodness, I'm doing some weird things here. Okay, so here the sun and moon are at 20 degrees of Aquarius. So of course, if you have something planetary or planetal point at 20 degrees of Aquarius, that is going to be very, very poignant for you, because that is where the seed is being planted. And not only does a new moon institute a new beginning between the sun and the moon, which they do every month, right? So this is a short, when we work with the moon, we have quick feedback, quick receptiveness to her lessons. So this is going to be a very interesting journey, because this is the first new moon in Aquarius, and this will be the first of 20. So one new moon in Aquarius a year, almost always. Sometimes we have two new moons in the same sign, or full moons, but rarely. So let's say, without having checked the full cycle, that we're going to have about 20 of these, and this is the first one. So even though it's further away from Pluto, Pluto's at 0 degrees and the sun and moon are at 20, they're co-present in the sign. The archetypal energy is the same. And so we're really going to get a sense of what is the new beginning that we're planting through this 20-year Pluto power shifting kind of dynamic transformation, right? So remember, the sun actually entered Aquarius with Pluto. So that in itself was pretty powerful. I mean, that doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily the case, right? So that already brought the biggest light in the sky, the sun, and the furthest out darkest planet, and yes, I know he's demoted, but I'm still calling him a planet, into the space at the same time. So we were dealing with a big dynamic, a power play of shadow and light, even in that. Then, at the time that I'm actually filming this, Mercury has just come into Aquarius and met up with with Pluto. By the time we're looking at this chart, we can see Mercury's already moved 7 degrees on. So the sun is a personal planet. He entered the sign with Pluto. So already we got a bit of a flavor. What's been happening for you in the last 20 days by this point? So basically 3 weeks. What's been showing up? What's been repetitive, especially where power dynamics or something that needs to shift, change, transform, those kind of things. Deep shadow traits, deep uncomfortable skeletons that have been long buried, sort of rising to the surface, those types of things. Then Mercury on the 6th, 5th, 6th, depending where in the world you were, Mercury came into the sign. Here he is now at 7 degrees, and he conjoined. And Mercury's energy is very much about how we're thinking. So as we go, first we brought the light to Pluto. Now we bring our narrative. Actually, why have we always done it this way? Actually, why have I always thought this? In fact, where did I begin that thinking? And then we'll have to unravel some stuff and go, I don't really believe that. So I'm not sure why I've been telling that story all this time. That's Mercury coming to Pluto in Aquarius for the first time, also a personal planet. And so again, we're getting another sort of thematic feel. And then not too long after this new moon, in fact, it will be next week from this new moon, which is Friday, Saturday, depending where in the world you are. And next week, both of these two planets, Mars and Venus, are going to do the same thing, stepping in to Pluto. So at the time of the new moon, we've already had Sun do that, and Mercury do that, and of course, Moon do that. So she moves very fast. She spends 2.5 days in a sign. So by the time she gets here, she's already been in the sign for about a day, almost 2 days. And so she came in after Mercury, but she just moves faster. So she's moved past him. So she came in. So that's also bringing our emotional intelligence to the equation of, what do I need to change in order to be emotionally healthy? What emotional traumas do I need to let go of? Do I need to turn on their head? What do I need to pull out of the closet, or skeletons out of the earth, in order to really make the shifts that I need? And the moon is very much about our body and embodying. So I would definitely recommend somatic kind of practices, whatever that is for you, whether it's going for a mindful walk, whether it is doing some deep yoga, breath work. All of those kind of somatic practices are going to be really, really useful for this new moon and for this whole Aquarius season, while the personal planets are going bam, 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 bam. Because it's like a machine gun fire. We don't even have a chance to recalibrate what the one planet entering into a conversation with Pluto in Aquarius for the first time is, before the next one's there, the next one's there, the next one's there, and we can't even really catch our breath. So overall, in the end, the theme is going to be maybe a little bit muddy, because it's not just the theme of Sun Pluto, or Moon Pluto, or Mercury Pluto, or Mars, or Venus Pluto. It's and that is all the personal planets. So all of them in this rapid fire manner are going over. By the time we have the new moon, 3 have already gone over and 2 are imminently there, 27 degrees of Capricorn and 21 degrees of Capricorn. So they will be coming over very shortly. So this is something we can't deny. I mean, it is an Aquarius new moon, the overarching space of where we would want to plant our intentions, our wishes, our seeds, is in the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is the sign of the futurist. It is a sign that is all about what is it that we need to do to change things for the better for the masses? Do I need to invent something? Do I need to fly somewhere? Do I need to change the type of fuel that we use? Do I need to start whatever? Okay, it's quite revolutionary. And this is this is what you're going to start looking at. It's also got a lot to do with astrology, the sign of Aquarius, and technology. So IT or AI, very big, big theme of transformation going to be happening there. It's also to do with otherworldly stuff like alien sightings and such. So these are all going to be themes that'll come up, okay? Those are big collective themes, but also how do we make them a little bit more personal? And another way to do that is say, where is Aquarius in my chart? So for me, Aquarius goes across the 6th and 7th house. It is on my descendant point, which is here. So I'm going to go and see, well, where in my chart will all of these planets be hitting at the time of the new moon? And obviously, if Pluto is currently in my 6th house, that's where Pluto's been working for a while in my case, because it depends what type of house system you use, but I use a quadrant house system. So you're going to see that you've got this this long-term shift happening. Like in for many of us, we will have Pluto staying in the same house in our chart, but shifting sign. So the work we've been doing continues, but with a new theme, a new archetypal backdrop. Okay, so it's like we just can't ignore this heavy hitting stuff. And then, of course, the planets that are still at this point, the Mars and Venus, that are still in Capricorn are coming over the space that for years now has been excavated by Pluto already. So they're just like really coming back over that space, and also the space of where our last new moon was, okay? Then we have, and I think I might have spoken already briefly into this at the last full moon forecast in Leo, because the node, this is the north node of Dharma and great potential, is moving backwards, and Chiron is moving forward. So they're moving in the same direction or the opposite direction. So they're coming together fairly fast, and they're just over 2 degrees apart. So Chiron being our wounded space, and because it's in Aries, and Aries is like the me self, the warrior, my identity is where is my identity being wounded, and how do I remedy that? And we can't really, it's that kind of wound that we work with our whole life. It never fully heals our traumas, but we keep getting different iterations of it every time we do that higher turn of the spiral, and we come back around, and then we see something we never saw before. And through this constant work and evolution that we're doing on that part of ourselves, we find that we can help others. So where is Chiron in your chart is going to be your natal predisposition for that. But we've been dealing with Chiron in Aries for some time now. If you're around about the age of 50, a little older, a little younger, you are a Chiron in Aries. And so you have really got this in spades, because you're having a Chiron return and it's in your chart. But collectively right now, if this is not your Chiron sign, you are dealing with where each of us individually is feeling that we need to work on our sense of self and our autonomy, and where the wounds are, and where that knocked our self-esteem, and where we aren't confident in ourselves, because that's a lot of what's to do with Aries, showing up in the body, getting really confident, very energetic, very physical. Those are Aries things. And this is because the node is coming to meet it. This is where we're having eclipses. This is a very powerful place in terms of how do I work on myself? And we would have spoken into this in the last Leo full moon as well, because Leo is also a sign of me first, then other. Aquarius is other focused. But the fire signs in general are me focused. And neither one of these is better or worse. We tend to think of being me focused as being selfish, but actually the stronger we are in ourselves, the better we are for other. So this is very much what this North Node Chiron conjunction is engaging. And it's forming a very beautiful sextile, to the new moon as well. So it's really facilitating asking those big questions of the self in order to be the best that we can for the community, Aquarius. And then, of course, we also have the Uranus energy here. And Uranus is the modern ruler of the sign of Aquarius. And Uranus at 19 degrees of Taurus is squaring this 20-degree new moon, sun and moon combo here. And squares are challenging. Sun square Uranus happens about twice a year, not about twice a year, unless there's a retrograde situation with no, it's only twice a year. So this is where we have this really intense, because Uranus is like a shocking, expanded mind kind of thing, like think outside of the box, revolutionized thinking, a lot of similar Aquarian traits. This is where we may have a big paradigm shifting moment. While Uranus has been in Taurus, that paradigm shifting moment might come to ground. How do I ground that? How do I make it practical? How do I grow food to eat it, etc.? That kind of thing. So this is also quite a powerful and not usually it's not a comfortable conversation. We also have Jupiter at 8 degrees of Taurus in a beautiful, strong, happy sextile to Saturn. So I often describe Jupiter and Saturn as breathing. Jupiter expand, inhale, and Saturn contract, exhale. When they're working together, it's almost like you've got a beautiful breath rhythm. So I'll come back to that concept because Aquarius is an air sign, and it's a sign that can be a little bit intellectual, heady, disembodied. So if we bring this really nice earthy Jupiter and watery emotional Saturn, and we think of the breathing, and we come back to that what I said earlier about somatic work, like you could do breath work or yoga or anything that does quite conscious breath work, very, very powerful for this moon to help facilitate those intellectual breakthroughs by tuning into the body through breath, through movement, through listening to our emotions. And there's a little bit of because Saturn is in Pisces, there's a little bit of like emotional discipline required in order for us to really dream into the best future that we can find. So I just there's so many things that we could talk into. I mean, we could also see that this Mercury at 7 degrees is forming quite a strong square also to Jupiter. So Mercury is squaring Jupiter, new Sun and Moon are squaring Uranus. So there is a strong and that's fixed energy. Taurus and Aquarius are both fixed energy. So there's this kind of stubborn resistance to changing. And I mean, Pluto is saying change. Uranus is saying change. So there is this push at the moment to change that which is rigid and stuck and fixating and stagnant within us. But there's also this resistance for us to do it because we're afraid, because it's new and we don't know what that's going to look like. And I think we'd all be lying if we said that wasn't scary. And that comes back to we need to check in with our own wounds, Chiron, North Node, conjunct in Aries. We need to check in with our emotions, with discipline and a certain amount of almost like remove yourself a little bit, get a little bit into your intellect as you check into your emotions, and then get into your heart as you feel into your intellect, and all the while stay connected to your body who is speaking to you. So it's very much how do I inhabit all the parts of myself in order to bring the best parts of myself to the table with deep acknowledgement of the parts that are not the best, and that they too have an important place here, that they too bring something powerful and potent and necessary to the table for me at this time. So I think I'm going to, okay, one more thing. We've got this Capricorn at 20, Capricorn. Mars 27 Capricorn is forming a sextile to Neptune at 26 Pisces, and that is a combination of Mars, how do I do the dream, the ideal, how do I get there? So we are very much in a tug of war between I want to change, I want to transform, I want to progress, and I refuse to budge, I refuse to change the way that I've thought, the way that my forefathers thought. Tradition is everything, Capricorn, and I'm not revolutionizing, Aquarius. So I think that's the main thing that I wanted to talk into today. I hope that has been helpful. I look forward to getting your feedback, and remember to like, share, follow, subscribe. My link will be below this video, and I really appreciate the engagement. Have a beautiful new moon in Aquarius, and I'll see you for the next full moon.